I'm Harrison Graham. The Chicago Bears have unveiled its initial 53-man roster for 2024. Things, of course, will change with the waiver wire tomorrow. We'll get some practice squad news as well, but going to react to that, plus reveal the full list of cuts and a couple of IR designations also. So stay tuned here. Let's dive into it. This was the full list of roster cuts here, kind of rapid fire. Keith Randolph Jr., Tommy Sweeney, Douglas Coleman, Simba Webster, Ian Wheeler. Those three players will revert to IR if they're not picked up. Khalid Kareem, Jatiri Carter, Jerome Carvin, Javen White, Paul Moala, Quindell Johnson, Michael Dwumfor, Jalen Hutchings, Peter LeBlanc, Carl Jones Jr., John Jackson, Byron Cowart, Colin Johnson, Brett Rippon, Jake Curran. Some of the more recent ones coming in: Cameron Lyons, Stephen Carlson, Adrian Colbert, Corliss Waitman, Kari Blasingame, Aviante Collins, Leon Jones, Deshaun Mallory, Austin Reed, Brendan Bates. I was a little surprised by that one. Tarvarius Moore, so they're only keeping 4 safeties. Theo Benedette, Jamery Chroma, Ro Torrance, Reddy Stewart does not make it, so only 4 safeties and 6 corners, 10 defensive backs. Larry Borum and Jacob Martin, short-term IR. They are designated to return. They can return as early as week 5. Dante Pettis out for the year on long-term IR for a second straight season, so definitely a bummer for him. Before we get to the 53 guys that made it and some of my thoughts and reaction, subscribe to the channel. This is why you sub to Bears Now here. If you want the latest Bears news, rumors, reaction, and a whole lot more, hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications. We got you covered here on this show. Be sure to rock and roll with us here on this channel. All right, 2 quarterbacks, Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent. Both Brett Rippon and Austin Reed got cut. I think both are practice squad candidates, but I don't think a huge surprise here. Rippon could get some interest around the league to be a backup somewhere, but if not, I would expect the Bears to throw him decent practice squad money. And I think they like Reed enough to continue developing him on the practice squad, but only 2 on the initial 53 here. You go to the running back position now, 5 guys. We'll talk about Kari Blasingame in a second, but DeAndre Swift, Khalil Herbert, Roschon Johnson, Travis Homer makes it. So does Velus Jones. Now, Velus, of course, could be a wide receiver. He's a hybrid. He's going to be your kick returner as well. Kari Blasingame got cut, but he's a veteran, so he's not subject to waivers. Brad Biggs reported that the expectation is that Patrick Scales, who's injured, was on the initial 53 here. He will revert to short-term IR tomorrow, since they already had to designate 2 other players, Borum and Jacob Martin, and then they will bring Blasingame back. So the plan is to bring back Blasingame, and I got to say, 5 running backs and a fullback, even if you don't want to call Velus a full running back, feels a little redundant to me. Is Travis Homer that special on special teams? I don't know. And to keep Blasingame and value him over Brendan Bates, I got to say, I'm a little surprised by that. Not shocked, but just a little bit surprised, and perhaps something that I would have disagreed with. But it is what it is. I don't think it's earth-shattering in terms of the Bears' chances to win or lose this year. All right, let's go to wide receiver now, as the Bears are keeping 5, as Dante Pettis is out for the year, not even on short-term IR, long-term IR. So that's a bummer. We'll see if he's later waived with an injury designation if he gets healthy. But DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze, Tyler Scott, who are all locks. And then DeAndre Carter, which I think pretty clearly means for now he's your punt returner. We'll see if the Bears scour the waiver wire for a potential receiver out there, either at the receiver position or for a return specialist. I think Carter's the best option to be your punt returner right now, especially if you're not going to put Rome Odunze back there, which clearly I don't think they are. So for now, they are going to go with 5 receivers with Carter as the punt returner. If you love the Bears, like this video, hit that like button if you are a Chicago Bears fan. So we should get hundreds of likes on today's show. Show support, show love if you are a Bears fan. Only 3 tight ends. I was a little surprised by this. Just knowing Shane Waldron and his history and background, we knew these 3 would make it, so that's not a surprise with Cole Kmet, Gerald Everett, and Marcedes Lewis. But the Bears are expected to run a lot of 12, some 13 personnel, which is 2-3 tight end sets. I would anticipate one, if not both, Stephen Carlson and Brendan Bates are back on the practice squad, but Biggs reported that Bates has drawn interest, so he could get claimed. I thought he performed well enough to make the team, and I would have kept him over Blasingame because I think he could have handled the fullback duties while also giving you a little bit more juice as a pass catcher, especially if an injury pops up. But they did not agree with me, and that is the direction they went in. Again, am I going to freak out over a fourth tight end getting cut? No, but I thought he was worthy of keeping on this roster, but the Bears decided to stick with the three that we knew were going to make it all along. Before we get to the offensive line, make sure to get going with our sponsor, Game Time. Get off the couch this football season and go to your favorite sporting events, concerts, comedy shows, and a whole lot more. Game Time is going to hook you up with the best tickets available and the lowest prices guaranteed. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS. It's all one word, CHATSPORTS, to get $20 off your first purchase only. Terms do apply there. Cubs are hot right now. They're making moves, trying to make it in the NL wild card. And go check out a White Sox game. And, of course, the Bears Week 1 action against the Tennessee Titans a mere 12 days away. Get going with Game Time. Views from the seats within the app. Super deals where they highlight the best bang for your buck at certain events. It's awesome. It's Game Time. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Code ChatSports, $20 off that first purchase only. Terms apply. What time is it? Oh, yeah. It's Game Time, baby. Go check them out. All right, let's go to the offensive line now. Pretty heavy here. The main note, Larry Borom, short-term IR. I predicted that. I thought that would be the case, so he can return in Week 5 potentially. But they still keep 10 guys. And I think you had to keep Doug Kramer because Ryan Bates has been banged up, and you need a backup center early in the year if Bates can't go. And quite honestly, Kramer played pretty well. He earned it. I would say if there was a surprise of training camp that ended up making this team, someone I did not expect to make this roster going in, I mean, remember, they cut Kramer last year. He was on another team. They brought him back this offseason, and he makes the 53. Good for him. He looks improved. He looks stronger. They kept Bill Murray over DeAndre Carter. He had a good training camp. So you've got options on the interior there. So 10 offensive linemen, 11 if you count Borom on the short-term IR. So they kept a lot of the big fellas up front. Just like they did on the defensive line. A lot of guys, especially at edge. Couple of notes. Jacob Martin, short-term IR. He can return Week 5. But they kept 6 edges outside of Martin. Now, Walker could kick inside, and with only 4 DTs on the team, he probably will some. But Montez Sweat, DeMarcus Walker, Darrell Taylor, who you just traded for, Austin Booker, Dominique Robinson, and Daniel Hardy. That's a surprise to me that both of them made it. I wonder if the Bears put out a claim or two, if one of those guys would be the cut. I would guess they would be, since you're so heavy at edge. But they both make it initially. And quite frankly, I'm happy Hardy made it. I thought he earned it in the preseason. Outside of Booker, I thought he was your most consistent pass rusher throughout the preseason. So good for him. But other than that, I'm a little surprised they went that heavy at edge and running back. That's a little interesting. Linebacker, Baskerville got cut, so we'll take him off of there. But the other 5 made it. They essentially have Noah Sewell making it over Micah Baskerville. So your top 3, TJ Tremaine, Jack Sanborn, Eamon Agbagbamiga. There goes Micah. Just kind of sad to see him fade into the abyss there. Noah Sewell. To me, this is simple. They opted to go with the guy they drafted over Baskerville. I personally disagree with it. I think this year you're trying to win. Now, look, maybe Sewell is that much more impactful on special teams. As good as Baskerville has looked at linebacker, he's probably your 5th best one, so 2 guys would have to get hurt. So if Sewell's a clear better player on special teams, I'm fine with it. All I know is when they both have played linebacker, Baskerville has looked like the better player. So, I could see him getting a shot somewhere else. Hopefully he clears waivers and returns to the practice squad. He's a guy I would continue to invest into, but I'm a little disappointed by that one. But again, you always have to remember special teams in these matters, and Sewell played a decent amount last year on special teams. 6 corners, the guys I projected. I was rooting for Reddy Stewart, but he does not make it. Your 3 starters there. Terrell Smith was a lock. They're opting to go with guys who have been here, and I can't blame them. Jalen Jones, Josh Blackwell, they've been core special teamers. They've both gotten real snaps at corner as well. I thought Reddy Stewart had a hell of a preseason. We'll see if he clears waivers or not. If he does, he will definitely return to the practice squad. But Greg Stroman got cut as well, so it's just a crowded room, man. I mean, I think Stroman could sign with another team as a vested vet. That wouldn't shock me at all. But 6 corners at the end of the day. Kind of interesting you go both 6 corners and 6 edge rushers. Typically you'd go heavier at corner, but that is not the way they went, although 6 is still a good amount. All right, grade the moves by Ryan Poles today. How would you grade his roster decisions, A, B, C, D, or F? I'm fine with it for the most part. Again, we always end up griping about players 50, 51, 52, 53. Does it really have a huge impact on the season? It's hard to say. I'd give it a B+. There's a couple things I would have done differently, but don't have a huge gripe. Safety here, just 4. Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Jonathan Owens is your 3rd safety, and then Elijah Hicks, who's going to play a lot on special teams. I thought all 4 of these guys would make it. I had Adrian Colbert as a 5th safety, but the Bears did not. They also cut Tarvarius Moore, who had a good preseason, so we'll see if one or both of those guys could return to the practice squad. But 6 corners, 4 safeties, so 10 DBs in total. And then special teams, Cairo Santos, Torrey Taylor, Patrick Scales. Again, Scales is going to go to short-term IR. It's been reported he's going to be out until mid-late October, and then they're going to bring back Kari Blasingame. That tells me what they're going to do, at least probably early on, is sign a long snapper to the practice squad, elevate him for game day the first few weeks. But if Scales is truly out till October, you're going to have a few more games to piece together. So we'll see if a guy like Cameron Lyons returns to the 53 or something like that. But as of now, that is where things sit with the 53-man roster. And again, this is the initial roster. Big day tomorrow. Waiver claims due at 11 a.m. Central. You've got practice squad signings that are going to take place as well. Lots to come when it comes to Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus in this roster building. I don't think this will be the 53 we see. In fact, I know it won't be because Blasingame's going to be back and Scales is going to be out. So there's going to be at least one shift there. But busy 20 or so hours to come. So be sure to lock us in, subscribe to the channel, and bear down as always, baby. 53 initial roster is set.